And a very good morning to our respected viewers. Welcome to our second series of live webinar on In Conversation with Security Practitioner. This event actually is organized by Information Security and Assurance Research Group, ISRG, School of Computing, Faculty of Engineering, UTM, CTI Lab and Cybersecurity Malaysia. I am Mahiza Muhammad Siraj, a member of ISRG. Last week we did have our first series on 11 August. For those who are missed out the session, actually you can view it later on our Facebook. It was a very interesting conversation with Mr. Adli Wahid from Epinic. Today we are going to have a special guest as well, an entrepreneur. Also, I can say a close friend and brother to Mr. Adli. They work together in a Malaysia Cert project and other collaborations as well. And he's quite popular in the cybersecurity community locally and internationally actually. So our guest today is Mr. Mahmoud Abdul Rahman. I would like to give you some brief introduction on Mr. Mahmoud. Okay. Mr. Mahmoud Abdul Rahman currently works as a Chief Microsoft Office Specialist for making business proposal and also analyzing malicious Office document at NetBite. He is running the company which bunch of passionate cybersecurity team members. Prior to that, he worked as an Information Security Specialist Manager at MyCert Department. Currently, he's taking in charge of Android reverse engineering and malicious document tracking on APT to analyze and dissect cybersecurity threats. His education background comprised of master degree in computer science from National University of Malaysia, UKM, in 2006. Prior to that, also he obtained a degree in computer science from the same university. Moreover, he is recognized for conducting numbers of training for organizations to talk on advanced security courses. He also an occasional speaker at conferences, international level such as DEF CON USA, Hack in a Box in Malaysia, HitCon in Taiwan, first conference USA, HoneyNet annual workshop, first DC in Japan and Malaysia, and many more. And I bet his achievement, the list of his achievement will be growing more and more. Okay, without further ado, let me introduce you Mr. Mahmoud Abdul Rahman to our session. Assalamualaikum, Mr. Mahmoud.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillah. Welcome to our webinar.
Yeah, thank you for having me today, Doctor.
Yeah, thank you to you too for being here despite your busy schedule. How are you? And your family?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. It's been a wide ride, I think, for the past couple of months for Malaysia. Hopefully everyone's okay with all this COVID and things like this, you know. Yep, we are doing fine, alhamdulillah. Thanks for asking anyway.
Alhamdulillah, long time no see. It's very good to see you again here virtually. Okay, so actually, can we start with our first conversation? Okay, so we know that. Okay, we know that you are currently working on analyzing and detecting cybersecurity threats to the network, and also you are involved with a project which investigating the Android-based reverse engineering. Can you elaborate more on this research or project?
All right. So I guess doing a technical based companies, right? Definitely there must be some value added that we need to do for our clients and things like that. So for me myself, I spend most of my times are working in the areas of Android malware or what we call it like I rather call it like an Android reverse engineering per se, because like we also reverse engineering Android for other things as well. Like when we do pen testing and things like that, we also need to reverse all those Android as well. So I spend more times in regard to that. There is also other couple of teams member that doing on iOS and a bunch of other things. When it comes to malicious document, it is something like I put there we are running as a chief Microsoft officer in Microsoft Office kind of thing, because like we Other than doing proposal and working on the PowerPoint and presentation and things like that, I'd also analyzing all those, what we call it like malicious document in that, right? So it's the kind of thing that we work on dissecting any malicious or attempt from, I would say, malicious actor try to compromise target by using Microsoft Office as a vector, right? Vector of attack. So we spend the time looking into this threat base by, like I said, reverse engineering on this format would be something over statement, but it's more like you open up Microsoft Office in a different manners. You don't open Microsoft Office by using Microsoft Office Word, for example, but we rather open Microsoft Office with hex editors or our own parser to analyze all those maliciousness inside there. So that's just what we do. I mean, not we per se, but more for my interest. But as a company, we do a bunch of other things as well. Yeah.
Very interesting one. Okay, how about other future project or other future research you're planning to do with your group?
Oh yeah, I think nowadays we as a teams we also have other things that we're working on. Everybody's talking about threat intelligence and thing. I'm not really sure what will be so much of intelligence in there, but I think what we want to focus on is how we can centralize the threat that we are collecting from the feed that we have, and also from the feed that we produce. So from there, we going to share and build a platform on top of it, and to eventually distribute to our clients and see what they can do with all of this information. That's part of our. I would consider that the current. It's not current. Eventually, it's been there for a couple of years already, but having some sort of like what we call it like a contextual, meaning that if you are from Malaysia and you know what's happening from the Malaysian perspective landscape, it's much better for you to add context into it. So that is something that we've been planning, and hopefully we can do something in that area. So yeah, that's part of the thing.
Thank you so much. So you are the co-founder of NetBiteSec, right?
Yeah, yes.
How many people actually the key people in initiating this entrepreneurship project company?
All right, that's an interesting question too, in Chile. So we need to go a bit of the background how we set up the company. The company was set up with the two key members, but eventually, saying founder is a key members is definitely understatement. Eventually, we have the backbone of our team's member that start up the growing up with a netbot security. So but we started initially with, I think it's about like 3 team members only. So those are still the core teams member that eventually built and good foundation for whatever NetBite currently. For now we have roughly about like 25 team members, or still like I said, core members and the foundations of the NetBite security.
We wonder what actually motivates all of you to, independently, passionately come up with this kind of idea.
Oh yeah. For some people, running a company or building the company might be the only option left. I consider myself as a those part of in the bracket that eventually have option of either you set up your own company or you die trying, right? So I think one thing that motivates me the most when we decided to build NetBite security, when we end up like, for me, when I end up like seeing a lot of going a lot of interviews, and eventually been tasking to build a team around it, like basically was started to build a malware research lab, because maybe due to my previous experiences, I'm running as a malware research center at the previous companies, right? So the trust of the trust by the third party that's allowing me to build the lab, eventually triggering me instead of like building for someone else, how about like building these labs and teams basically within your own mills, so that is what triggered me, like. And then I think in terms of the technicalities and things, this is something that we can always work with other people and try to find what would be the best offering for our clients, so that would be part of it. But definitely when it comes to running company, it's just only not only about passion, right? You need to have a bit of I would say knowledge in this area. But unfortunately for me, when it comes to running a business, it's not something that I have really clear at all. So with the helps of a few mentor and friends, you eventually make this happen. So I think passion wise, I think at NetBite we don't have any problem in terms of technicalities. But when we started doing this, running, getting business and things like that, this is something young, which is we think that is complete stuff that we are lacking. But I think eventually you learn from gradually, right? Years after year, it eventually maturing you as a as a business perspective, growing up. So yeah.
Is it hard to find support in terms of financially? How
I
you manage
think
that kind of
uh,
challenge?
I think when it comes to financial part, I think um, I rather put this way, right? When it comes to financial and things, this is about risky. So we know so how there are people, up above doing with the riskies, right? So I think, in honest answer, I think when we start up doing this, this is something that coming out from our own pocket monies eventually. But eventually, it's good when after about a year or so, we have some sort of like a people that want to funding the company. They want to invest. Some they want to put their monies on in the company. But I think as a net by growing up, I think we have enough to do managing our own team without any financial support from outside. I think in Malaysia there is a lot of initiative for us as an entrepreneur to get funding, something like that. It just need. I think there are a few agencies that eventually, having been set up to work with the entrepreneur to get you funded, to give you grants and things like that. So it's up to your appetites eventually, what kind of type of funding that you need for a company. In terms of hardship, yes, I think it's hard to get a funding, but I think if you know, like a previous in Malaysia, ukur baju pada badan sendiri. So if you know what the sizing of your company, and live accordingly, so pay to the teams accordingly. Don't I don't know, like don't living in the style of things young. It's not something that yours. So for neckbite perspective, that is how we eventually try to ban the hardship and work with it. Not goes
Mm.
against the hardship. We're bending the hardship and try to make peace with the hardship.
I think because of the good performance of your company, and then outside investor start to believe in your capability. I think this is normal among a startup company, right?
Yeah, I
Because
think.
mm,
Yeah, I think it's normal. Yeah, I think it's normal. Yeah.
okay. And besides the project that we have mentioned earlier, can you share what kind other services or products that NetByteSec offer to whether it is government-based company or non-government-based company? What
All
kind of
right.
services that we can you can refer to?
All right. So Never have the two teams right now. We have people that focusing on security engineering, and the second one we focus on code engineering, software engineering per se, right? So we spend a lot of our energy into the cybersecurity areas. I mean, when we do development, it's also within the cybersecurity element. We don't do any random thing involving like code development stuff, right? So we're still within the cybersecurity element. So we spend time doing software development, but other than that, we spend most typical thing that a cybersecurity company does in the circle of penetration testing, vulnerability assessment. These are kind of like a really generic kind of offering, but we also do spending our offering in the areas of digital forensic and incident response, DFIR. Um, and around that, we're also doing things involving it's still within the similar domain, but it's just like a different focus a bit. Like, for example, when you look into penetration testing, we expanding a bit of shifting a bit of focus in the sense of we do red teaming as well. So meaning that it's a close to similar practice with the pen testing and red teaming, but eventually it just different in the approach, in the sense of scoping. So that is something that we've been offering to our clients. On top of it, we're also doing things that we live the most is in regard to malware analysis, doing all those APT analysis. So this part of the thing we services that we offer for our for the clients.
You are one of the key person of Malaysia HoneyNet project, right?
Oh yeah, in a way,
HoneyNet.
yes. Because
Actually, I read the annual report of HoneyNet project, so I'm thrilled. Okay, we can keep updated on the progress of threat, the progress of cybersecurity issue and scenario. So, are you currently or still actively involved in HoneyNet project?
how to put this? Yes, kind of yes and no in a way,
And
but but I think in terms of communicate, in terms of role, yes, we are still active, engaging with the HoneyNet community and stuff like that. But in terms of activities, is a bit kind of I would say slowing down. So not much not much in terms of Malaysia HoneyNet project. Not much is going on right now. I think so. All the members or teams members of the HoneyNet project Malaysia is kind of like having a long hibernation. I think this has been a while now. I think, but I think as a personal capacity, I think everyone is definitely working on something else, but maybe it's not in the sense of kind of like something that can be shared among the community's HoneyNet project. But I think in terms of communication with other HoneyNet project members from the different countries, a different chapter, that is still active in engagement with all these people. Yes.
yeah.
Oh, and
Actually,
then definitely, since Doctor brought up this like HoneyNet project, it definitely is cool to have more, youngster to join. Hey, people, if you're listening to this, if you want to be part of HoneyNet project members, do some cool stuff and come to talk with Brother Adlis or me or a bunch of other members from the HoneyNet project Malaysia. So we are interested to see engage more with the youngster nowadays. So yeah.
yeah. How do they join?
I
Join
think
you? How they can join you?
yeah, it's kind of like a secret club. So no, I'm just kidding. It's not secret club.
Underground, huh? Underground.
No, not really. The whole report is there, so things that we do is there. But I think is when it comes to HoneyNet project members, we're definitely looking for people that have their patience into this because we definitely want to work with people or we want to have a good engagement with the people that have passion in this area. And then the area for this is also broad, not necessarily building the HoneyNet or deception technologies only. They can be on other things as well, right? So is anybody interested doing on cybersecurities and tracking attackers, tracking actors, and things like that? There might be something that you can join. So I think how to join is basically as simple as sending an email with a bit of your credential in the sense of what you have been working on, what stuff you have been working on, and then and from there we're gonna do what we call it like a vetting. in the sense of multiple people need to vouch for that. So if you are passing that vouch process, and eventually you'll be accepted to as a team's member. So I think because like the nature of HoneyNet project is it's kind of like waiting base, um, process of joining. So I think it's good to maintain this because like eventually we want people that doing this is coming from people that has been wed, and somebody have been vouched for it. So it's definitely much easier for us to do a selection. It's not really like a fight clubs or secret clubs or whatever thing. It just need to go through a vetting process, and everyone, I think so, from the members of HoneyNet Malaysia HoneyNet project, before we go to that vetting process and social vouching process. So I guess no exceptional, everybody need to go through that process. So yeah.
Fresh graduate is also acceptable, right?
Oh yeah, I
Fresh
mean we
graduate.
don't, yeah, we don't really care much about like fresh graduates or old folks, or we don't really care much. As long as you have common interest, then we can click. So that's about it. And then everybody welcomes. If you are from um, doing some cool stuff, 16 years old, living in your basement and things like that, we are more than happy to welcome you guys, and definitely a fresh graduate if you got a lot of cool ideas, and if you have like a cool FYPs surrounding HoneyNet project or deception technologies and things like that. Well, we're more than happy to get you guys on board, providing you pass this waiting process and vouching process also. Yeah.
Okay. If perhaps we voice out your name and then we have a big chance.
Oh, well, not really. I think there is no colony in HoneyNet project. So, but I think definitely vouching work in that perspective, right? Somebody, I mean, at minimum two of people need to vouch for it. Like, hey, I know this guy. He's a trusted
Mm,
members
mm,
and doing
mm.
some cool stuff. And then we need two people saying that. If you pass that things, then I think thing should be good. So yeah.
Yeah, just kidding.
No.
Actually, many students here are very interested in hacking practical kind of thing, and I noticed that you are actively involved in many international hacking competition. Okay, even in local, you are being referred as a domain expert in many hacking competitions, right? So could you give some advice to the students, because they have the deep interest, but how and where they can start?
All right. In regard to hackings, right?
Mm,
I think there are few people are a bit sensitive when it comes to the terms hackings, right? I think hacking per se it's need to be neutralized. It's not supposed to have like a moral implication into it, providing when you do the target properly, right? If you do hacking by breaking into the government page or university page, it's completely it's criminal, right? It's crimes eventually, right? So I need to be careful when we talk about hacking and things, right? But then if you are doing hacking in the sense of writing your own exploit, writing your own kind of a payload and thing and stuff like that within the own environment that you control, or within the environment that allow you to do so, those are fine. So in terms of like where you should get started in this part of hacking
competition.
a competition in that
Mm,
perspective, I think nowadays definitely in the areas of or when everything's in around hacking is some sort of being what we call it like a
mm,
gamification on this hacking. um, can we call it like a hacking industry, as has been providing a lot of a venue for students or for the people to play around it, right? I mean, if you go into the typical hacking side, like Pornable.kr, TWs and things like that. There are quite numbers of site hack this site, and I think HTBs and bunch of other things. Those are kind of like giving you some sort of like a kickstart where you should poking around and what we call it, like honing your skill in doing capture the flag kind of games, right? Those are good place for you to start and eventually decide what kind of area that you want to focus more, because each of the challenges have its own unique offering. Like if you look into ponables, if you look on reversing, they give you a different skill set that required. For example, if you look at the challenges involving with a ponable or something like we call it like exploitation and things like that, it require a different skill set, right? If you go into like a web challenges, it require different challenges on web security perspective. If you go into like code auditing, it have a different perspective on it as well. But the thing is, the most critical part for the people that have interest in this area, it's basically you just need to do it. Just do it, right? The problem of many of us, eventually we are so worried in the sense of like, wow, so many challenges, I don't ready, and I don't do this, I don't do that. I mean, those are something I would consider is kind of like a weak argument, right? Because like when the thing is, there is no such time limit for you in the sense of how long, how many days, how many months, how many years for you to eventually do the practice. It just for you need to do the practice and keep practicing, right? It's quite a bit of difference when you're talking about competitions. In Malaysia, I think we have a lot of good competitions in regard to what we call it like a capture the flags game. There are quite numbers of things happening in local scenes. So when you look into you know competitions that have a time limit in the sense of 24 hours, 6 hours, 24 hours, or maybe like 1 or 2 days, right? So those are the things that require you to be particulars in your with managing times. But prior to that, like I said, online challenges that offering you for this I would say a venue, it doesn't really bother much with your time's limit. So do the practice, and then stop conquering the challenges from there. And then when it comes to competitions, it's become like I would say natural, because most of the challenges is also kind of like a repetitive as well, right? When it comes to web security, if you spend a lot of like, I don't know, let's say you spend in top 10 O1's web security, when people building the challenges from games or competition, it's going to be around those things, right? It's just a matter of finding the trick here and there, and that's about it. So as long as you got your foundation correct and solid, I think it's much easier for you to be a champion for any competition that you are about to join. So yeah, the key point is basically just do it. I'm not promoting any brand here, but anyway, just do it. It's something like you just need to do it. There is no
Yeah.
reasoning why not doing it. There is like a free versions. You don't need to pay. Yes, there is like something that you have to pay for certain numbers of platform, but most of
Mhm.
it are free. So yeah,
Yeah, true. So go for it. You never know unless you try it, right?
completely agree with that assessment. Yeah, cool.
Okay, okay. This is the next question is common questions, but since you are a leader of a company, you are also a researcher, you are co-member in many international security projects. So you have a very vast experience in communicating with people, understanding people behavior and that kind of things. So in your aspect of views, because our viewers are mostly students, what kind of qualities and knowledge a person should have in order to be a good leader or even co-worker in this area, security, cyber security?
Uh, I think in regard to questions for that, right? I think when it comes to professionalism, right, there is always two, at least for me, there is at least two I would consider good, uh, what we call it, like a good attribute need to be carried.
Yeah.
One is definitely soft, I would say soft, soft
Soft
skill
skill.
kind of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
then the second one is definitely in areas of what are you, getting your trouble into, right? If you are from technical point of views, so what are those area? Like for example, if you are working on forensic, then definitely you need to have a good forensic skill set in terms of that. But I think like speak a bit about soft skill element, right? Most of the people normally when joining or part of new cultures or part of new companies, quickly adapting to this kind of like environment is definitely good, giving you advantage in the sense of having some sort of like quick adapting in the new environment is good, skill set that you need to have. For example, if you take a look at the people joining a company within this pandemic environment nowadays, so you're gonna work remotely, you're gonna work alone, and you start to feeling like nobody cares, and nobody wants to talk to you and things like that, right? Because you work in remote. So this part of the things that if you are not adapting well, if you need people to pat your back all the times, so this part of the thing, I guess, giving you the edge if you are quickly adapting. And not only that, I think when you are dealing with other people that might be a bit of odd or having weird personality and stuff like that, you definitely need to adapt around it, right? So that's just part of the thing in soft skill that you need to have. And other than that, it's just always temptation. If you're becoming cybersecurity um, practitioner, not even yet expert, right? Just consider cybersecurity practitioner. There is always temptation in regard to look at yourself as somebody that is always better than the rest of the people, because like you're doing security, right? You're definitely good, and you must be better than the rest of people. And this is eventually leading to the perspective of becoming a bit of like a prima donna, right? So this part of the thing, I guess, if you want to be good, having a good some sort of quality in terms of personality, becoming a prima donna is just something like a big no in this industry. I mean, in regard to any industry, I would consider being a prima donna is something that you want to avoid. And it is always good to be humble, regardless of how good are you, because I think if you know where you started, if you know how do you get the knowledge, if you know how you spend your time reading someone else's article, reading someone else's research, reading someone else, uh, journal and things like that, you do realize the knowledge is not coming from you alone, right? You gain it from someone else. Hard work and carrying the attitude of being prima donna is just something really, really, I think is uncalled for. Uh, when you're talking about becoming, good co-workers and also good team members. So please, at the level best, um, you know, try to avoid this becoming prima donna. Regardless in whatever industry that you are, stop being a prima donna. And it's never hurt to be humble. It's never hurt to be, blend in with everyone else. So these are two soft skill I would consider good to have. And definitely the third one is being trustworthy, right? Because like when you're dealing with cybersecurity, people are going to share access with you, people are going to share data with you. This is, I guess, it's also been highlighted with Brother Ali from the previous presentation, right? Trustworthy is a core thing when it comes to cybersecurity. I mean, after all, security is about trust, right? So if you're not trustworthy, and then why are you here, right? So this part of the elements, I think, that need to be something we have to carry when we be part of the soft skill. When it comes to the technicality, skill set and things like that, I think definitely knowing your stuff is better. Less talk, do more, and keep on improving yourself. Cybersecurity is a technical domain, right? It doesn't work when you just talking so much without understanding, underlying, behind the technologies and the things that you've been talking so much. So I think less talk, spend more time doing more. And when I say less talk, it doesn't mean you cannot do your presentation, cannot do your write up. You need to still convey your idea. You still need to articulate your ideas properly. You need to share your ideas properly. But I think maybe you need to share things that you know, or maybe ask a question that you don't know, right? So those are the elements I would consider a good thing to have, in the sense of you need to know stuff that you're talking about. So this is the technical value that you need to have. And other than that, if you are in the areas of for example, code audit, make sure you know what you need to be a good code auditor. If you are coming from SMS perspective, you need to know what does it require for you to do, SMS good, auditors and things like that. If you are want to be, if you are malware researcher or malware reviser, you need to know what kind of knowledge for you, to be able to work on those part of the things. Yeah. So I guess this part of the things that we need to have. That technical savviness is something that we need to have. Yeah.
Yeah. A very precise explanation or guideline for those students, and identifying the good attributes. Okay. So as we know, cybersecurity issues, including technologies, threats, risks, are rapidly changing and evolve. Okay, and it's very dynamic. Okay, rather than other kind of knowledge that are static. So you as a practitioners, how do you keep yourself updating with this kind of knowledge? And what is the best frequency of um, times, okay, in terms of, I have to update myself on this certain knowledge, if, at least a month, or at least there's something big threat happen in certain time. So how do you make yourself a discipline to this kind of thing?
All right. I
Oh,
think that's an interesting question. So how I mean, within the perspective of how we are updating the knowledge and keeping up with so fast moving technologies. Yeah, I think it definitely is good analogy to work on this. If you are expert Windows XP a couple of years ago, you're definitely obsolete by now, right? Nobody's using Windows XPs anymore, right? For example, so how you keep up with the Windows 10 now? Like I don't know what would be the release of Windows 10 now, maybe R or something. But but if you are from Windows point of view, I mean, like if you are from perspective of people that spend time doing research on Windows, you definitely need to know all those things, right? So for me, how do I get um, keeping pace with this knowledge is basically by following the right people at the Twitter. So I'm using a social media as well as part of uh, following through what's happening in the world, what's happening in the cybersecurity world perspective. I don't follow much in the sense of what they are having lunch, what they are having a breakfast for this morning. I don't really care on those things. What we interested is what they eventually do today, and what kind of code they are released for today, what is latest exploit they are discovered, what kind of like a latest malware they are discovered. So those part of the things eventually are quite easy to get it from the Twitter streams, for example. So by following the right people, you end up getting a lot of information as well. And definitely, you need to spend a bit of time reading. And the good thing is you always attach to your phone, right? And then most of the time, you can just read from the phone, right? So I think read. So how you keep pace, I think, is reading. It's not reading the tweets alone. If you just read a tweet, it doesn't bring much values from there, right? It's just like, hey guys, new research, and then they give you a link, right? So that link definitely required for you to read. When I say reading Twitter, it's not in the sense of like a post Twitter. It's just reading, whatever been shared from that link, right? So make a habit to read all those, research, or something they are sharing. I think most of it is definitely good things to spend your times, and definitely when you skim through, you're gonna get the ideas what kind of research, what kind of like finding they are presenting, or put the report and things like that, and from there eventually it gives you some sort of clue. Okay, like this is the latest trend of APT theory, for example. This is the latest trend of APT, blah, 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 blah. So you eventually end up like, getting much, a bit of insight. And if those area part of your interest is something that you do, then maybe you want to spend a bit of, I don't know, like 2 or 3 hours reading and try to, replicate the same analysis and get a better understanding on those things. And of course, you have a lot of I would consider tweeted streams of information. Sometimes we got like I don't know, too much of information from there. But I think if you know how to process this information by meet certain people, meet certain keyword, you definitely help you to reduce kind of noise when it comes to Twitter Jaya. A lot of things happening on the Twitter Jaya, right? So less politics is better for you. But then it's regardless on this topic, right? I'm not supposed to tell you what you are supposed to be reading on your own timeline. But if you ask me in the sense of how me processing these informations from the Twitter, so I just follow certain numbers of people that I try to emulate myself to be something similar to them, and this part of the information from Twitter, right? But within the network point of view, we also have some sort of like a discussions, or what we call it like just talk what we think session. So I think that is also encouraged in the sense of giving a spark of idea, like, oh, this might be good to explore, this might be good to do some stuff around this. So yeah, this part of the things how we keep up with the knowledge and things, but the most important thing is read. So yeah.
Yeah, true. So reading is the window of knowledge, right?
Yep.
Okay. And I heard that you want to share some of your impressive success stories with us.
uh well, it's not really impressive. It's just like I would consider um something, I would consider what we call it like a bit of experience of things. But before that, let me share a bit of this. Hang on a second.
Yeah, you can share screen or do whatever you like.
Hang on. I think I have it here.
While we are waiting, Encik Mahmud to show some interesting pictures. Okay, viewers, if you have any questions, you can write down in our chats. Our chat. You have give your comments or question in our chat section. Okay. So and we will read out your question and the
Uh,
speaker will answer the selected question.
it's
Okay, so we are waiting the technician to upload the slide.
early warnings. Yeah, this is the by no means there was impressive pictures. Mm, it's basically just stories, right? I think Brother Ali shared quite a good experience uh, based on the pictures last week, I think. Hopefully, this is more like adding what we call a MSG into it a bit.
Mahmoud, we are still not receiving the slide that you want to share. It's okay. It's okay. Perhaps you can share your story
Uh,
verbally.
Hang on, yes. I
Mhm.
tried to check what's happening.
Mhm.
All right. I think the file it's not that big, but it's ascending right now. I think.
Mhm.
But anyhow, so I think it's not there yet.
Okay. It's okay. I have many questions for you.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Does it have questions and things?
Yeah, yeah. So let's read some questions. If the viewer have some questions for us, okay, let's see.
Hmm.
Hmm. Okay, they're still thinking. It's okay. We're going to our next question. Okay, and in our current education system, okay, so especially in secondary school syllabus, we know that there starts to cover a basic fundamental of computer and security. So, in your personal opinion, what do you think of this? Is there any? Of course, there are some advantages, but is there any disadvantages or some bad effect from this kind of implementation?
I think when it comes to you know educations, right? When you
Hmm.
doing this cybersecurity at the early stage, I think is definitely is a good thing to do. Get the right foundations correctly. Um, maybe I think it's a good thing to do, right? For me personally, I think it's definitely a good thing to do. As everyone's so connected with the internet nowadays, right? If you look at the people that I don't know, like I think I would consider when you are 12 or 13, when you are going to your secondary school, it definitely been trusted with the smartphones already by parents and things like that. So I think it's good to have some sort of like a early exposure about awareness in the context of awareness, not in the context of technicality yet, but do in terms of technical, sorry, awareness in the sense of, what would be the, I would say cyber threat when you are dealing with the what we call it like social media, for example, right? I think if you look at the um, you know the 13 years old, 14 years old, they might have not carefully thought in the part of what they are sharing, what kind of information they are giving out and things like that. So from the education point of view, providing awareness perspective in the cybersecurity areas elements, I think definitely is a good thing to start early. When they are, becoming, I don't know, like 14, 16 or 17, when they are already been exposed to the programming, right? I think that is a course involving programming. I think we can definitely start putting security in that. Like for example, when you do a programming course for the form 4, form 5, you can start doing security, uh, I would say, aspect or element into it, like how to securely programs. So those part of the thing, I guess, is good to to engage it early rather than when you are becoming as developers, and then you start like learning on those securities on software vulnerabilities and things like that. Start early is better, but definitely not in the sense of asking them to reverse binaries or things like that. No, in the context of awareness, that is something good to do.
Yeah, yeah, true. And actually, we have another 10 minutes more. So we have okay. This kind of things is okay. You know that currently we are in the middle of COVID-19 pandemic, and all over the world, everyone is limited to MCO, and many of people, professionals, are losing their job. Losing their motivation. All categories of people, from students, from professionals. So you personally, how you keep motivated every day, every morning, doing community-based project, doing some non-profit-based research in order to help people aware on the cyber threat, cybersecurity threats. Okay. This is like a motivation, okay, to all of us.
Uh, well, by no mean I'm embarrassed or good at this. I guess this is something like, I don't know. I think for the millennials or people that probably under the age of I don't know, like 70 years old. This is something that everybody experiences as a complete new, new things for everyone, right? But I think as people, regardless how bad the situations are, well, there is saying that is always silver linings after all of this mess, right? So I think everyone's going through the same phase as well. It's just like how worse it is. I mean, this is bad for everyone, but how worse it is, right? In terms of when we look at the people that got laid off and things like that, I think definitely it's a very unfortunate event, right? And definitely for those people that got laid off, I think we wish the best for them. And I guess it's also important for us to eventually honing the skill. I mean, during the period of getting laid or something like that in this current moment, if you are coming from cybersecurity industries or ICT generally, it's a good thing to start, honing your skill in areas that you want to be next. I think definitely after the pandemic, I think definitely there gonna be a lot of works eventually. It's just like we need to get into which part of industry. I think ICT is gonna always be relevant, and definitely security, cybersecurity per se is gonna be there. I mean, regardless of uh, how worse the condition is gonna be, but it's always gonna be there. So the thing is, you need to pick up yourself and start learning something new, and stop, I would say, being too generic. If you are against, by no means I'm giving this advice. It's just like me sharing what I think. Yeah, it's not like I'm giving you advice. I'm still far away from for the entitlement. But I think if you are year one or year two after works, maybe it's a good idea now to start focusing and be a damn good one in the area that you want to focus on. And definitely, you don't need to be master in all, but it's just good to be, I would say, a bloody good one in the sense of, for example, if you pick web security, it's going to be your forte. So spend time and work on it. And now, like everyone stay at home, so you definitely have no reasoning of not working on those top 10 OWASP vulnerability and stuff like that. So spend time on that instead of playing much games on Mobile Legends or whatever. By no means I'm bashing people that playing games, right? Play games is a good thing to to release your intensity and whatnot. But I think if you like doing on cybersecurity, pick a topic and set some sort of like a goal that after give it for I don't know like and by the end of this year you're gonna be a damn good one in whatever thing that you are planning to do. It's web security. You spend times work on it. If you want to do things on a mobile security, spend your times in this coming 4 months or 3 months, and I believe people can definitely be good within 6 or 4 months, and definitely if you know what you're doing, yeah, not in the sense of like a generally. But if you know what you want to achieve, works with it. Like I said early on, just do it, and definitely, this conditioning, like what we call it, like new norm. Maybe it's good for you to hone your skill and you're coming back stronger when things gonna be okay. And good things about ICTs or security, we can always work remotely, right? So regardless of your physical presence, it's just not always gonna be your stumble block. So yeah.
Mr. Mahmoud, we have one question from a viewer. It seems that this viewer are really really interested in increasing her knowledge. So she asks whether your company or you yourself offering some sort of training or short certification in the area of cybersecurity. So
Um,
online based, basically online based.
All right.
Mhm.
So we eventually professional certification is not something that we do, but we do provide training for our clients. Most of it is kind of like a custom cybersecurity training, where else we talk to our clients on what they need and what kind of their teams require for us to prepare. So this is what we do in the areas of trainings and things like that. In terms of on
Most
mine.
demand. Mm.
Most if you look at the questions, I wonder is there
Yeah, most
this is from
demand. Mm.
Angelica. A question is I wonder is there any kind of certification in the most demand, right?
Mhm.
Okay. As we know, cybersecurity is huge industry, right? So
Mhm.
you end up having a different certification for each domain. For example, you look into web security perspective, you're gonna have like a few of certification that related to it, right? If you are coming from perspective of reverse engineering, you're gonna have certain numbers of certification on that. If you are coming from fantastic kind of thing, definitely there is certification around it. So to answer the most demand, definitely is going to be end up where are your areas of focus. Like for example, you are focusing more on penetration testing environment. The most common ones definitely within the areas of OSCP, for example. Then it's also like other things involving from people that provide labs, and even though it's not per se professional in that element, but within the environments, people that know, like for example, you look into HTB, hack the pot kind of thing, that is also have a custom lab for you to play around it and it end up like giving you certifications for that. So those are also good. Um, but I think I definitely I think it's a point to ponder is it's this certification is important, but I would still thinking that it can always be offset with your technicality demonstrations by providing a good write up, a good tutorial videos and things like that. Um, so when I say offset, it doesn't mean I try to degrade the value of certifications. But what I'm saying is the fact that certification in cybersecurity is a bit costly for a newcomer. So I think it might be a good idea to start working with your own, write-ups, own tutorials and things like that before you decided to pick whatever topic or whatever area that you want to work on for your professional certifications. So I think in the area of certification, you can look at SANS. Is also good. So yeah, I mean those SANS or SCP from offset securities is also good. Yeah.
Okay, this is the last question. It seems that you have an admirer here, of course, in a good way. Okay, she's asking, do you have any social media ID so that they can follow you as a role model?
Ah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't tweet much at the social media. I
Mm-hmm.
just there to probably filling the gaps, I guess, by retweeting others eventually. I do have in my handle at the Twitter. It's kind of embarrassing to say it now anyway. Mm,
No, no.
anyhow, I have it there as Yomut as my Twitter handle. Don't how to put this? Don't concentrate much on my Twitter, but try to follow people that I follow because they bring more value to you. That is how much their values are eventually gained from the people that I follow. So do follow them. They have been doing a lot of cool research from there. So for me, I get an insight by following the right people. So I think, but the thing is, right for me probably not right for you. But I guess it's that I don't have the list. But you see the people that I follow. If anything that we share in the common interest, then I think it's good to follow them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best way is to join any event that Mr. Mahmood collaborated, right? If he's coming as a speaker in a certain conference, then go to that conference. That's the way to
Uh,
follow you, right?
I think well, most of the times nowadays, I'm not discussing much on the technicalities and things like that. But I think in Malaysia we also have a lot of good people to get it to follow their activities and things like that. There are a lot of cool people also in
Mm,
Malaysia. I think that's good.
of course.
Yeah, to follow them,
Mm,
so to listen to whatever they say. But
mm.
for me, it's basically sometimes it's just kind of like repetitive topic and things like that most of the time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mahmood. So that's our last questions. And what we have in our conversation today is a very precious, is very inspiring to us. Hopefully, Mr. Mahmood, we can meet at other collaboration again.
Yeah, I think inshallah, I think I'm looking forward to
Inshallah.
to eventually engage more with this kind of like activity. It's a good thing to do. Thanks
Yeah.
to UTM for working on this. Is definitely is a good thing to have. Eventually. Not because you have me. It's just, it wasn't the case. But I think it's just you have a lot of good people lined up. I think so. Next. I think next week also is going to be
Yes, yes.
a good
I'm going
people.
to talk about that after this.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is
Thank
going
you
to be
so much.
cool. Like yeah,
It's really
cool.
nice knowing you.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, nice to know you guys all. Thank
Yeah.
you, Doctor, for working on this, and thank you for moderating this. I think, and yeah, for the viewer, thank you very much.
Okay. Assalamualaikum and have a good day.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah, yeah.
Out.
But, okay, Mr. Mahmoud. But before I end this session, actually, I want to share the important two incoming event that we will conduct um, and organized by ISRG School of Computing, Faculty of Engineering UTM, together with IEEE. Inshallah, we will conduct an international conference. Okay, it is Scopus. Scopus, and will be published in IEEE Scholar database. And this conference we will held online. Okay, online from January 29 until 31st next year. So this conference called Cyber Resilience Conference, CRC 2021 actually. So forgive me, the year is still 2020. So actually we have extended it to 2021. So actually we are offering the many various kind of area in cybersecurity, which including digital forensic, cyber threat intelligence, security management, network security, blockchain, and data analytics. So it will be clearer and more detailed information on everything you can get from the homepage. The homepage is crc-my-org, and we accept all kind of papers under the topics of anonymity and user privacy, data integrity, privacy, biometric security, network security, database security, multimedia security, watermark, forensic, malware detection, intrusion detection, spam phishing, and all kind of security issues, discussion and research. And so this is a good platform. It's a good way to keep update our network and our knowledge. And the second event is, of course, the next series, our third series of webinar in conversation with security practitioners with Mr. Tan Kian Seong. Okay, he is a security researcher, member of HoneyNet project as well. So actually, these three guys from last week, this week, and next week, actually they are, very close, close friends. Okay, close friends. They are working a lot of things together, and basically, what many of things that they done, basically, they are willingly, voluntarily means many of the projects is for the community, for the society, so that we are aware on what happened in cybersecurity, and we gain knowledge, we gain the latest information without paying or without dealing with the challenge on our own. So this kind of people, it's very good to follow and to take them as our role model. So with that, thank you so much. So I will end this session with Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and see you next week.